Hey folks, Max from Woods' Finest here. I've got a pretty exciting video for you today, not gonna lie. I'm super excited about this. Welcome to another episode in the Grip to Tip series. This is the Longbow, the ILF Longbow combination that I've been searching for through I don't know how many components and for definitely more than 6 or 7 years. So I would really like to introduce you to this puppy here, so stay tuned. Hey folks, Max from Woods' Finest here once more. Welcome to another episode in the Grip to Tip series. I hope that you've been enjoying this. Let's get a couple of household items out of the way and pay some bills. If you like this content and all the other hundreds of videos that I've done, please give it like 2 or 3 seconds of time from your side. Click subscribe, click like on this, and maybe if you want to be notified when the next video is coming out, which is going to be very soon, hit that little bell icon. Thank you very much. Thank you to the sponsors. There is a whole bunch of cool brands out there that I've been buying stuff from for a while, and they're so nice to actually send me a couple wraps here, a couple of feathers there, a couple of components here, and that's actually helping out the channel a lot, because this is not even sustaining itself, to be quite honest. More than 75% of my viewers are actually not subscribing. This is a labor of love here, so if I would get to the point where this is actually sustaining itself, that would be awesome. Shout out to the Push Archery for always being awesome, and all the cool courses out there definitely have elevated my archery, and actually gave archery back to me, if I'm really honest. So shout out to those guys. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it, because it's a beautiful fall day here in Austria. I mean, there is this absolutely magnificent and very dangerous mountain right behind me that I'm gonna give you a little view here. What are we talking about today? This is let's go over the setup and then let's talk about it. Tratec Titan Mark 1 17-inch riser. I did a long video on this puppy. Absolutely love it. Lots of deflex in it. Very, very classic lines. Super, super low key. I actually put a little bit of a dampener up front here. That is, funny enough, the logo is kind of matching the Titan Tratec logo there. I whittled around on the grip a lot, which I do always because most grips don't quite fit me, and I need a very low wrist, so nothing damaged there, just made it a lot better in my opinion. For my needs, you know, shooting 300, actually shooting a fixed crawl. That's pretty much that. Nap center rest lets me shoot veins, which I've taken on the last hunt because I didn't know how the weather is going to be. These are just AE Elite veins. They fly over the regular plasticky arm here if I'm doing my tuning right. I have probably tested 5 pairs of different Longbow ILF limbs. So far you've seen 1 pair on here, which was one of my first videos. That was the Sky Archery VPA, whatever you want to call it, combination of the VPA vaporizer 13 inches with a pair of long ILF Longbow limbs. Decent setup, not super high performance due to the geometry of the riser, but I definitely like them. Now, what happened to the other 4 pairs that I've done so far? Some of them were decent. I just didn't end up finding a setup that I really liked, and some of them were plain very underwhelming, and some of them definitely are of the highest price range. And if I don't like a product, rather than coming on here and talking crap about it publicly, I usually opt to just directly talk to the manufacturer and just give them my 2 cents. Like, I'm not an engineer, etc., etc., but I feel like this is something I can do as a customer, as a consumer, and just give them my 2 cents. If they take it, great. If they don't take it, you know, whatever. But I don't come here and just talk crap. Now, some of these manufacturers were very cool about that. Some of them were plain awful, not in the way that they didn't take the feedback, just in the way they responded. And I don't want to have any of this negativity on here. I don't compare brands to each other. I just give opinions about a specific product. Because taste is different, you know, proportions of a person is different, shooting styles are different, so I'm just bringing it from my point of view. 3 high in the same spot. This just can't get down there. This is such a small pig. I had to really force myself. Let's put this in perspective, how tiny this thing is. This is a piglet. 25 yards, probably even a little bit more. Not even remotely to the knee. Not remotely. This thing is like, that's 8 inches. That's not 4. That thing is like 12 inches high. Now, what is my affiliation with Bosen bows? That is also very important because, you know, anybody can say anything as soon as marketing is bought. My relationship with them is the following. I'm not getting paid to make a positive video about their products. I asked them to send me a couple of things so I can keep the Grip to Tip series running, because obviously I can't buy a new bow setup every month, and they are happily obliged. It took 3 years to get the limbs that I'm gonna be actually presenting to you in the next couple of months, which I also already did in the chronographing video. Reason for that was COVID and them completely rearranging all their designs, manufacturing, etc. And that's about that. Now, what is this? This is I don't even remember the specs, but I'm pretty sure it is a 50 on a 17-inch riser, XL, which means extra long limb. That means on this 17-inch riser, these limbs make a 64-inch bow. Now, if you have followed the channel for a while, you're gonna know that I love a 64-inch bow. I have a 27.5-inch draw, which is not very long, it's not very short. But a 64-inch bow is very maneuverable for me, it's still stable, and I do have shoulder problems from decades of lifting, grappling, doing stupid stuff like American football, etc., etc. And I do like the draw cycle of a 64-inch bow. So I went with the XL limbs, and I would recommend that to anybody who is having a 27-inch draw and longer. Reason being that longbow limbs in general, but especially ILF limbs, do very much behave super differently on different risers. And if you don't have a riser that has a, you know, let's say like this, if you do get a riser that is rather short and has very extreme limb pad angles, they're gonna stack the crap out of you, and it doesn't matter what limb that is. Now that's a good one. Classic, beautiful backdrop. That's a musk ox at, I would guess, better part of 45 meters. I'm gonna verify that with the ILF because that's what I have it for. 42.2. So off by about 2 meters. Oh, hi. Good. Shortened the arrows recently to tune them, which means I can aim a little bit differently. Take 2. There you go, right in the pocket. And that was also right behind that blue stake. I'm sorry for that. But I hope you saw some arrow flight right there. So, here we go. What makes these different is that, in my opinion, they have a geometry and a price that makes them absolutely unbeatable. When it comes to performance, you have to check out the chronographing video of all the different Bosen bows, and you're gonna see that, first of all, these pull extremely consistent. So with every pull of the weight gauge, I actually got to the I think 49 whatever period and the same weight. Now this is very helpful in the shootability of these limbs. Performance was great, as you saw. We were always scratching 175 to 180 with heavy hunting arrows, and I think 11 grains per pound, or even more than that. So that is amazing out of a setup like this, not even pulling 50 pounds. Why is the consistency of these limbs here helping me so much? Well, if you're pulling the same weight very consistently, which is of course because of the not just because of my foam, but it has a lot to do with the combination of the build quality, the carbon, and the foam. Now that helps me very much with consistency in shooting, because the bow is more likely to have a consistent speed and cast every single time. So it's easier for me to really nail the trajectories, the gaps, the correction, etc., etc. Performance, flat arrow trajectory, sorry. Very repeatable for me. Shootability super nice. The XL limbs on a Longbow ILF limb definitely to be recommended for anybody over 27 inches of draw length, just because Longbow limbs definitely on an ILF riser you need a little bit of leeway with the shootability and the smoothness of the pull. Another reason I think why these are so nice compared to other Longbow limbs that I've shot is that they have a profile that is definitely keeping a lot of recurve in a strung up or like in a braced position. So in this case here we're having a 8-inch brace height, and still we have a lot of reflex in the limb, which means this is all space that is going to be able to open up and smoothly being pulled. Wow, now that changed quickly, which is welcome to the Alps. Alright folks, there's no bad weather, there's just bad prep, right? So I threw on my little Patagonia anorak here. It's gonna be raining for the next few hours, but I want to get this done because we're actually in a really beautiful location here in the middle of the Austrian Alps. You know, what's a little bit of rain? That's another cool thing about a bow like this. This is aluminum, foam, carbon, whatever, nylon, and a couple of carbon arrows with vanes. So nothing is gonna lose its performance here. Even with the cat whiskers on a string here, this is literally an all-weather setup. That is your stainless Cerakoted rifle right there. Now, without getting too much into just trivial rambling, where was I? I was talking about the limb profile. The limb profile as well, what's super interesting for me is that it almost has like a, this is like a little bit much, but it almost has like a little bit of a Holmegard bow, longbow, if you're familiar with that type of Scandinavian bow that they found in a bog, I think. It has this design where it's quite wide. It actually starts, of course, a little bit narrow right here in the limb pockets. It becomes quite wide right around like the middle, or the first third to the middle, towards the tip, as we're calling it, grip to tip, right? And then as we're getting towards the tips that are very small in comparison to almost all of the other ILF longbow limbs that I've had, these are by far the most I would like nimble. They're very sturdy. Of course, they're reinforced with carbon fiber, micarta, probably G10 actually. So no problems there, but they are quite small and narrow. That helps, of course, with hand shock, with speed, and all the good stuff. However, as you can tell right here, the limb is definitely, I'm sorry for the glare, this is just a side effect of this weather, but you can see how it definitely tapers very, very much to a tip that is not even as wide as my thumb. So I would say the tip's probably right around ½ an inch wide, and there's a significant taper. And this, in combination with this rather strong reflex, definitely makes for a quick bow, a nice smooth draw that doesn't quite stack anywhere out here. It's the same gain, and of course a little bit less gain right here, which allows me to put my shoulders down and get right in my back rather than overcoming this wall with a lot of recurve limbs. Is there any downside for me? no. These limbs I think cost $240. That's like less than half than some of the other limbs that I've tested that I didn't like. Like I said, I'm not paid to say anything here that is not true. For me personally, this is the best value, performance, ILF longbow limb on the market. I've tried them on my WF19. I tried it even on the WF21 to make a super long longbow. And on this one here, it has the best performance and draw cycle ratio for shootability, huntability, and just an overall gorgeous setup. And that's what I kind of wanted. Just wanted to have a very classic looking longbow, black with a little bit of wood. You know, I was thinking about maybe putting a couple of dabs of, you know, paint or something on the carbon, which you always can do to get this kind of like modern carbon, like camouflage rifle stock kind of look. But in this case, I'm probably just gonna keep it plain like this. There's nothing not to like about this. Like, let's say, put it this way. If ILF longbows are something that you're kind of fascinated by, like I am, this mix between a very old shape with a super modern technology, like a typical, like a very clear modern trad vibe, and you've had a hard time finding a longbow limb that you really like, and you don't want to spend $600 on a limb not knowing if you're actually going to be liking it, which is my personal experience, then these are for you. If you're not into ILF longbows, the whole concept, the way that they feel, the way that they sound and all of that, these are not for you. Plain and simply. As far as ILF longbows go, on an affordable level, let's put it this way, this riser I found used, of course, because they don't make them anymore like this, I think for $200, these are $240. This is a $440 bow. That is absolutely prime, pristine. Very, very difficult to get. Performance top, nice draw cycle. Build quality great. They were absolutely aligned. I didn't have to do any limb adjustments as far as lateral. Is there anything else to say? Not really. It's a Chinese product, yes. All of your American DAS, whatever limbs, all of those are Chinese products. In fact, your DAS carbon limb carbon with bamboo course is actually the same as a buck trail 3K limb. They just have different emblems on it. They have different branding on it. Some have branding on it, some don't. You know, most of the archery products these days, even the risers of American made companies, very often are pre-made or like made to a certain part in China. It's just what it is. What I do like about Bosen is that they do have original designs that they didn't take from someone else. They've been working very, very hard to come up with their own product line, and they're a very cool company that I never got any weird vibe from, as far as like having a product that looks exactly like something else and just ripping it off like what you're seeing on AliExpress a lot. So with that, without further ado, I hope that you like this video. Sorry for the weather not being optimum, but actually it stopped raining, so let's do a couple more shots on this absolutely gorgeous 3D range here. I hope that you're enjoying these videos. Give me a like, please, a subscription, and I hope that I'm gonna see you in the next video. If you have any questions, of course, please write them down in the comment section. I'm gonna try to answer anything that I can answer. You find, of course, the link to Bosen Archery down in the description box. That's the least I can do. I want to help all of these companies out that I think making a good, affordable, honest product. As far as my own products, please check out my website, Woodsman's Finest, where you find my hand-carved spoons. If you're into axes and knives, I do design them, I make them, I manufacture them. There's some custom pieces, there's manufactured pieces, so all of the good stuff. And if you're looking for your next tab, well, I just got a big load of new cordovan, beautiful cordovan leather in to make handmade cordovan leather tabs, the best leather on the market for that purpose. So check them out on Woodsman's Finest as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm gonna catch you folks next time.